So you're transporting a trauma patient who is involved in a head on motor vehicle collision with a large truck. The patient, thought to be unresponsive due to head injury, now has a blood pressure drop from 128 over 88 to 96 over 42 and a slowing pulse. What condition are you most concerned about? Would it be A, chest injury, B, a pelvic fracture, C, abdominal injury, or D, spinal cord injury? Now, these questions can be challenging because let's face it, all of these can be the answer, right? We just had a head on collision with a large truck. Literally, any of these could be the answer. But there is something very specific that's going on with this patient. We see that we have a drop in blood pressure. So there is definitely a sign of shock or decompensated shock, rather, and also slowing of the pulse. And that's the one that gives it away. Now, we could all say that yes, if you had a chest injury and let's say that you had a cardiac contusion, can that cause bradycardia over time? Sure. If you had a pelvic fracture or abdominal injury and you were bleeding out for long periods of time and your patient starts decompensating, can your heart rate drop before going into cardiac arrest? Sure. Now, that train of thought is definitely what hurts, I believe, students the most where they start to say, "Oh man, well it could be this and it could be that." And so here we have a patient who sustained trauma. They have low blood pressure and bradycardia. We need to consider this to be neurogenic shock, which is a spinal cord injury. Understand that with neurogenic shock, this is a distributive shock. And I always tell students distributive shock distributes vasodilation. So we have widespread vasodilation throughout the entire body and a parasympathetic response, right? So this parasympathetic response is going to cause that heart rate to drop. The patient loses sympathetic tone. Early on, this patient's going to be warm and dry. And again, this patient's blood pressure is going to be low. For my EMTs, make sure we're doing spinal motion restriction and transporting this patient as quick as possible to a trauma center. And for my medics, don't forget that we need to administer not only fluids, but we need to consider pressors that will not only increase or improve that blood vessel constriction, but also improve that heart rate. Again, the best answer here is D, spinal cord injury.